Find other great podcasts like this one at Podmoth.Network.
Hey, what are you up to?
Oh, hi. I'm listening to this awesome podcast.
Ooh, I love finding awesome new podcasts. What is it about?
Well, it's about a bunch of things. Sometimes history, sometimes hauntings, sometimes it's spooky, and sometimes it's funny, but it's always interesting.
Ooh, okay, that sounds great. What's special about it?
Well, each week, Celine picks a topic and reads it, and
Wait, what?
Matt creates a pairing of a treat and a drink to go with this peculiar tale.
Wait.
And they talk about it, and they joke about it.
Hold on.
And sometimes they have guests and have even more fun.
Wait a second.
What?
That's our podcast.
Yeah, you're right.
Why are you listening to our podcast?
Well, you know, we're heading into the long dark of winter, and that can make some people feel kind of isolated, and listening to Peculiar Pairings is a great way to feel like you're hanging out with good friends at the push of a button.
Well, that actually sounds really nice. Kind of sounds like everyone should be listening to Peculiar Pairings.
You know, I couldn't agree more.
So if this sounds like it's piqued your interest, you should search Peculiar Pairings podcast on your favorite podcasting platform today.
Yeah, we're everywhere. Come check it out.
Find us. We're there.
Hey there, fellow true crime aficionados. We're the host of Bad Acts, a true crime podcast. I'm Danielle.
And I'm Aaron.
Join us every Thursday for twisted true crime tales of dark deeds and despicable people. We focus on lesser-known, unique stories with a new case each week. We've covered family annihilators, cannibals, revenge killings, killer kids, mysterious murders, survivor stories, and much more. We've even tackled stories of people who blamed zombies, vampires, ghosts, and voodoo for their bad acts.
Of course, we know they're the only ones to blame. You can find us everywhere you get your podcast, or you can visit our website at badactspod.com.
If you like fresh stories and new perspectives on crime, Bad Acts will be your new jam. Join Bad Acts every Thursday. Stay safe, y'all.
See you soon.
Welcome back, everybody. Thanks for joining us yet again for another episode of Brutal, Bizarre, and Boozy. How are you today, Mom?
I'm doing all right. How are you, Declan?
I'm doing good. What story do you have for us today?
I have a story that is a cold case from about 30 years ago, and it was solved a couple of years ago using new DNA technology.
Ooh, interesting.
Yeah. What story do you have for us today?
I have Katherine Knight, and to go with my story, I have the Grounds for Divorce cocktail, which makes me think, like, whoever made this, they got threatened with divorce after making it, which makes me think it's going to be a gross cocktail.
That is a very good point.
They made this and their wife was like, nope, no, try again.
Yeah, like, all right, we're done. You're not feeding me gross stuff like that anymore, because it does sound gross.
It sounds fucking nasty. So to make this, I need 4 pineapple wedges, 2 ounces of tequila, ½ ounce of liquor 43, and ½ ounce of lime juice. To prepare, muddle the pineapple in the shaker, add all the ingredients and shake with ice. Fine strain into a chilled glass. Garnish with pineapple wedge if you want.
Okay, I have to admit that I apparently did not read the instructions.
Okay.
Because I thought the pineapple was just garnish.
Oh, so there's no pineapple in there?
There's no pineapple in it.
Okay.
I legit thought it was. Yeah, I'm an idiot and didn't read the instructions.
That's fine.
I think I read the prepare part where it says prepare garnish of pineapple wedge. And I was like,
I
don't need pineapple. Yeah. And I didn't read step 3, 4, or 5. Oh, good
It's all right.
Lord. Okay, well, who knows?
Ooh, it smells
My-
strong.
My
It
fuck
smells
up.
strong.
It smells. Maybe it would be better with pineapple. I guess I could go get a little pineapple juice and pour it in there.
It's not terrible, actually. It's just
Okay.
very strong. I don't think you'll like it because you don't like tequila.
That's absolute garbage. Pineapple juice would not help that at all.
I don't think it would have
That
either.
is, oh my God.
That Liquor 43, like, that's all I taste, though. That and lime. That stuff's very fragrant.
I know I didn't read all of the instructions for the drink, but I did read the amounts correctly. So you should be able to taste the reposado because there's 2
Barely,
ounces
though.
of that. I don't
Just
know. It
barely.
tastes disgusting. It's nasty. I wouldn't drink it.
Yeah, I think you're right. I don't think lime juice would help that, or
No.
pineapple juice.
No, it's going down the drain as soon as we're done recording.
I'll finish
I had
yours.
a
That's
sink-
fine.
If I had a sink in here, I would pour it down right now. Woof.
Okay. Let's talk about Katherine Knight.
Yes.
So, Katherine Knight was born and raised in an unconventional and dysfunctional family environment. Her mother, Barbara, Ruhan, sure. I might
Whatever.
switch between them.
Okay.
Married Scottish-born Jack Ruhan and lived with him in the small town of Aberdeen in New South Wales.
Ooh,
They had-
Australia.
They had 4 sons before Barbara began an adulterous relationship with
Whoops.
Kenneth Charles Knight, a friend and coworker of her then husband and local butcher Jack. The local backlash forced Barbara and Ken to move to Moore. None of her sons went with her. 2 eldest boys continued to reside with their father, and the 2 youngest sons were sent to be raised by an aunt in Sydney.
Hmm.
Barbara had 4 additional children with Ken, including twin girls born in 1955 in Tenterfield.
Good Lord,
Knight
that's a lot of
was
kids.
one of these twin daughters.
Oof.
In 1959, when Knight was 4 years old, John Ruhan died, and his 2 older sons moved back in with Barbara and Ken. Ken was a violent alcoholic who would sexually assault Barbara up to 10 times per day.
Oh,
Barbara,
my.
in turn, then often shared her intimate details of her sex life with her daughters
No.
and expressed her hatred for sex and men.
Ugh.
Later, when Knight complained to her mother about a sexual partner wanting her to engage in a sex act she did not wish to perform, Barbara advised her to endure it and stop complaining.
Wow.
Yes.
Okay.
Knight alleged she was frequently sexually assaulted by several members of her family, including her father, till she was aged 11. No, sorry, excluding her father, not including. Sorry, excluding her father.
Okay. Well,
Doesn't
that's
make it
nice.
better, but
No, not at all.
although there are doubts regarding the specifics, psychiatrists accept her allegations, and these events have been largely confirmed by other family members.
Okay.
Barbara's great-grandmother was an Indigenous Australian from the Moore area who had married an Irishman. Barbara took pride in her heritage and identified as Aboriginal. However, this was kept a family secret due to racism prevalent in the area at the time. And Barbara's ancestry became a source of tension for the children. Apart from her twin sister, the only person with whom Knight felt a close bond with was her uncle, Oscar Knight, a champion horseman. She was devastated when Oscar died by suicide in 1969 and continues to claim that his ghost visits her.
Wow.
The family moved back to Aberdeen the same year. When she attended Muswell Brook High, a high school,
Okay.
Knight became a loner and is remembered by classmates as a bully who stood over smaller pupils. She assaulted at least one boy at school with a weapon and was once injured by a teacher who was subsequently found to have been acting in self-defense.
Wow.
Yeah. Knight left school at age 15, having not learned to read or write. She initially worked as a cutter in a clothing factory before moving on to do what she described as her dream job at the local butcher's shop, where she began cutting up offal, which is like
Oh, yeah.
scraps and shit.
Yeah. And
Nasty, gross.
yeah, organ meat.
Yeah.
I have a question. How do you get to high school and drop out at 15 and you don't know how to read or write?
It's Australia. Maybe they do school different over there. She dropped out of primary.
Just they were like, just push her through. She doesn't have to read or write.
Yeah.
Wow, that's a big letdown of society there.
So
I mean,
she
it
quickly-
happens here too.
Yeah.
But
There's plenty of people who can't read or write in this country.
yes.
She quickly advanced to boning and received her own set of butcher's knives. Knight kept these knives hung over her bed at home, stating that they would always be handy if needed. Practice she maintained until her incarceration.
Okay.
Residents of Aberdeen later recalled Knight for her tendency to physically threaten anyone who angered her.
Oh, so she's real even-tempered.
Yes. Knight met her coworker David Stanford Kellett in 1973. Kellett engaged in heavy drinking, which stemmed from two traumatic incidents from his previous railway job. First, when his best friend was killed in front of him in a shunting accident with the train.
Ew.
Later, when he rescued injured occupants of a school bus in Kempsey, which had been struck by a train, killing 6 children.
Wow. Oh.
He eventually lost the job due to deteriorating behavior and performance, but he soon got work at a nearby Aberdeen abattoir or butcher shop and became close friends with Knight's brother. Often, if Kellett got into a fight, Knight would step in and back him up with her fists. So she was...
Okay. Just duking it out for her
yeah.
man.
Knight married Kellett in 1974 at her request.
Okay.
They arrived at the service on her motorcycle, with Kellett appearing quite intoxicated. Upon their arrival, Knight's mother, Barbara, offered Kellett some stern advice about his new wife. Barbara warned Kellett to be cautious, stating that upsetting Knight or cheating on her could lead to serious consequences, noting that Knight had a volatile behavior.
Okay.
On their wedding night, Knight attempted to strangle Kellett, later explaining that it was due to him falling asleep after they had intercourse only 3 times.
What? Wow, that's a bad honeymoon.
This lady is crazy. This is only the beginning.
Oh, geez. Great.
The marriage proved particularly violent, and on one occasion, a heavily pregnant Knight burned all of Kellett's clothing and shoes before hitting him across the back of the head with a frying pan, simply because he had arrived home late from a darts competition after reaching the finals.
Wow.
In fear for his life, Kellett fled before collapsing in a neighbor's house and was treated for a severely fractured skull.
Jeez.
Police wanted to charge Knight, but she changed her behavior to integrate it, ingratiating Kellett, and talked him into dropping the charges.
Oh.
In May 1976, shortly after the birth of their first child, Melissa Ann, Kellett left Knight for another woman and moved to Queensland, apparently unable to cope with the abuse, which I understand.
Yeah, she fractured his skull.
The next day, Knight was seen pushing her newborn baby in a stroller down Main Street, violently throwing the stroller from side to side. She was admitted to St. Elmo's Hospital in Tamsworth, where she was diagnosed with postnatal depression and spent several weeks recovering. After being released, Knight placed 2-month-old Melissa on a railway line shortly before a train was due. She then stole an axe, went into town, and threatened to kill several people. A homeless man, known in the district as Old Ted, was foraging near the railway when he found and rescued Melissa, by all accounts only minutes before
God.
the train passed.
Thank God.
Knight was arrested and again taken to St. Elmo's Hospital, but apparently she recovered and signed herself out the following day.
Okay.
A few days later, Knight slashed the face of a woman with one of her knives and demanded she drive her to Queensland to find Kellett. The woman escaped after they stopped at a service station. However, by the time police arrived, Knight had taken a young boy hostage and was threatening him with the knife. She was disarmed when police attacked her with brooms, and she was admitted to Mora's psychiatric hospital.
Yeah. She is a fucking menace.
Yes, psycho.
Wow.
Knight told the nurses she had intended to kill the mechanic at the service station because he had repaired Kellett's car, which had allowed him to leave, and then kill both her husband and his mother when she arrived in Queensland. Wow. When police informed Kellett of the incident, he left his girlfriend and moved to Aberdeen with his mother to support Knight. Yes, again, another... If your spouse is that crazy, just let them be crazy on their own.
Yeah. Maybe he was thinking about his daughter, though.
Yeah, his newborn.
Like his daughter should not have that human for a parent.
Knight was released on October 9th, 1976, into the care of her mother-in-law, and along with Kellett, moved to Ipswich, a city west of Brisbane, where she obtained a job at the Dinmore Meat Works. On March 6, 1980, they had another daughter, Natasha Marie. In 1984, Knight left Kellett and moved first to her parents' house in Aberdeen, then to a rented house nearby in Mushwellbrook. What a fucking shitty name for a town.
The names of some cities. I'm not even going to say it's just Australia. It's everywhere. I mean, we have ridiculous names in America of cities, but it just always is fun to me to go, where did that come from?
Although she returned to work at the abattoir, she injured her back the following year and went on disability pension. Since she no longer needed rent accommodations closer to her work, the government provided her with a housing commission residence in Aberdeen. There she met 38-year-old miner David Sanders in 1986. A few months later, he moved in with her and her daughters, although he kept his old apartment in Scone. Knight soon became jealous of what he did when she was not around and would often throw him out. He would move back to his apartment, where she would invariably follow and beg him to return. In May 1987, Knight cut the throat of Saunders' 2-month-old dingo pup in front of him.
No.
For no more reason as an example of what would happen if he ever had an affair, before going on to knock him unconscious with a frying pan. So he hadn't even done anything. She was just...
I hate her. I hate her so much.
Yeah, I figured you would. In June 1988, she gave birth to a third daughter, Sarah, which prompted Saunders to put a deposit on a house. Knight paid off the deposit with her workers' comp in 1989, and Knight decorated the house with animal skins, skulls, horns, rusty animal traps, leather jackets, old boots, machetes, rakes, pitchforks. No space, including the ceiling, was left uncovered.
Ooh.
Yeah. After an argument in which she hit Saunders in the face with an iron before stabbing him in the abdomen with a pair of scissors, he moved back to Scone. But when he later returned home to Aberdeen, he found she had cut up all his clothes. Saunders took a long service leave and went into hiding. I would too.
Yeah.
Knight tried to find him, but no one admitted to knowing his whereabouts. Several months later, Saunders returned to see his daughter and found that Knight had gone to the police and unjustly told him that she was afraid of him, and they issued her an apprehended violence order, or an AVO, against him.
Wow.
In 1991, Knight became pregnant by a 43-year-old farmer, an abattoir co-worker, John Chillingsworth, gave birth to the following year to a boy named Eric. Their relationship lasted 3 years before she left him for a man she had been having an affair with named John Price. John Charles Thomas Price was the father of 3 children when he began in his affair with Knight. Reportedly, he was a terrific bloke, liked by everyone who knew him. His own marriage had ended in 1988, while his 2-year-old daughter had remained with his former wife. The 2 older children live with him. Price was aware of Knight's violent reputation when he moved into his house in 1995. However, his children liked her. He was making a lot of money working on the local mines, and apart from violent arguments, at first, life was a bunch of roses, according to him. In 1998, Knight and Price fought over his refusal to marry her. In retaliation, she videotaped items he had allegedly stolen from work and sent the tape to his boss. Although the items were out-of-date medical kits that he had scavenged from the company garbage can, Price was fired from the job he had held for 17 years.
Wow.
That same day, he kicked her out and she returned to her own home, while news of what she had done spread throughout the town. A few months later, Price restarted the relationship, although he now refused to allow her to move in with him. The fighting became even more frequent, and most of his friends would no longer have anything to do with him while they remained together. In February of 2000, a series of assaults on Price culminated with Knight stabbing him in the chest. Finally fed up, he kicked her out of his house. On February 28th, he stopped at the Scone Magistrates Court on his way back from work and took out a restraining order in an attempt to keep her away from both himself and his children.
Yeah.
That afternoon, Price told his coworkers that if he did not come to work the next day, it was because Knight had murdered him. Despite their pleas that Price should not return home, he stated that he was afraid Knight would kill his children if he did not.
Okay.
Price arrived home to find that Knight, although not there herself, had sent the children away for a sleepover at a friend's house. He then spent the evening with his neighbors before returning home and going to bed around 11. Earlier that day, Knight had bought a new black lingerie and had videotaped all her children while making comments which have since been interpreted as crude makeshift will.
Oh.
Yeah. She later arrived at Price's house while he was sleeping and sat watching television for a few minutes before having a shower. She then woke Price. They had sex, after which he fell asleep. At 6 a.m. the next day, a neighbor became concerned that Price's car was still in the driveway, and when he did not arrive at work, his employer sent a worker to see what was wrong. Both the neighbor and the worker tried knocking on Price's bedroom window to wake him, but they alerted police after noticing blood on the front door.
Oh.
Breaking down the back door, police found Price's body with Knight comatose from taking a large number of pills. She had stabbed Price with a butcher knife while he was sleeping. The blood evidence appeared to show that he awoke and tried to turn the light on before attempting to escape while Knight chased him through the house. He managed to open the front door and get outside, but either stumbled back in or was dragged back into the hallway, where he finally died, later bleeding out.
Oh.
Later, Knight went to Aberdeen and withdrew $1,000 from Price's account at an ATM. Price's autopsy revealed that he had been stabbed at least 37 times in both the front and the back of his torso.
Oh my God.
Several hours after Price had died, Knight skinned him and hung the skin from a meat hook on the corner of a door in the lounge room.
No.
She then decapitated Price and cooked parts of his body, serving up the flesh with baked potato, carrot, pumpkin, beetroot, zucchini, cabbage, yellow squash, and gravy in 2 settings at the diner table, along with a note beside each plate each bearing the name of one of Price's 2 children, suggesting preparations for serving him to his children as a meal.
Oh.
A third meal was thrown on the back lawn for unknown reasons, and it is speculated that Knight had attempted to eat it but could not. This has been put forward in support of her claim that she has no memory of the crime. Price's head was found in a pot with vegetables. The pot was still warm, estimated to be at around 104 to 122, indicating that the cooking had taken place in the early morning. Sometime later, Knight arranged the body with the left arm draped over an empty soft drink bottle with the legs crossed. This was claimed in court to be an act of defilement, demonstrating Knight's contempt for Price.
Yeah, you think?
Knight had left a handwritten note on top of a photograph of Price, bloodstained and covered with a small pieces of flesh. It read, "Time got you back, Jonathan, for raping my daughter. You to Beck," which was Price's daughter, "for Ross, for little John, and now play with little John's dick, John Price." Keep in mind, she didn't know how to read or write, so it's very hard to read that.
Yeah.
The accusations in the note were found to be groundless. Knight's initial offer to plead guilty to manslaughter was rejected. She was charged on March 2nd, 2001 with murdering Price, to which she entered a plea of not guilty. Following her first trial, Knight changed her plea to guilty and the jury was dismissed. Knight's legal team had planned to defend Knight by claiming amnesia and disassociation, a claim supported by most psychiatrists, although they did consider her sane. 2 psychiatrists concluded that Knight suffered from borderline personality disorder. You think?
Something.
No
She's got something.
No explanation has ever been provided for the guilty plea, and even after pleading guilty, Knight continued to deny responsibility for her actions. During the sentencing hearing, her lawyers asked for her to be executed from hearing certain details. Her own lawyers asked that.
Asked to be executed or excused?
Yes. Executed.
What? Oh,
But
okay.
the request was denied. When Timothy Lyons testified about the skinning and decapitation, Knight became hysterical and had to be sedated. During the trial on November 8th, 2001, Justice O'Keefe emphasized the severity of the crime and Knight's lack of remorse, which warranted a harsh penalty. He sentenced her to life imprisonment without setting a non-parole period and mandated that her papers be labeled "definitely never to be released," marking a historic first for a woman in Australian legal history.
Wow.
First woman in Australia to be given life without possibility of parole. And I agree with the judge. That bitch, throw away the key.
Is she like the most beautiful, stunning woman ever? Because it's not like she was a monster to one guy one time. She was a monster repeatedly to multiple men. And they kept going back.
I don't know what she looks like, actually. Let me...
I just, not that that's an excuse, but I mean...
She doesn't look that great.
She murders your dog in front of you. She threatens your children in front of you. She does all these things, and they're like, we're breaking up. And then 6 months later, we're back together. Like, I'm not trying to blame the victim or anything here. I'm just trying to understand. I just don't understand.
I'll say she's ugly.
Okay.
She's ugly. I don't know.
Maybe she does. Maybe she's freaky.
I'm sure she's freaky if she's willing to kill your dog. What the fuck?
Oh my goodness. Wow.
Yeah.
Wow.
And tried to feed her. Ugh.
Oh, nope. I don't. Gaggy.
Well, let's hear your story.
Yeah, let's hear my story that is, not really gross or disgusting. Ooh. My story, like I mentioned, is a DNA story. Danni Houchins was a typical teenage girl from Montana. Most people called her Danni. Everyone loved Danni, and she was known to be witty but self-deprecating in her humor. She was smart and funny, and her favorite subject in school was science. She wanted to know how the world worked. Growing up in the small town of Belgrade, Montana, she was comfortable in the wilderness. She enjoyed fishing, hiking, mountain climbing, and she could ski. Some people described her as the classic mountain kid. In September 1996, Danni was 15. On this particular day, there had been a family disagreement, and Danni chose to remove herself from the situation. She drove off in her truck to be alone. Situations like this are fairly common, but when Danni didn't come home, her family started to worry. The family notified the police, and when Danni's truck was located off an access road to the Gallatin River, the police started focusing their search in that area. As the day got darker, the police called off their search, but a couple of friends of the family continued searching. Using flashlights, they kept looking in the dark. They eventually found Danni's body face down in a shallow part of the river. An autopsy was done, but the information was controversial. The sheriff at the time told the press and family that Danni had drowned. Danni's family were told there was no sign of foul play, no bruising or scrapes on her body. It was just a tragic accident, and he suggested that perhaps Danni had just tripped and fell in the shallow, muddy water. The family, however, questioned the circumstances for decades. I mean, she was a mountain kid. She wasn't out there unknowing what the environment was like. It was an area not far from her home. She, by all accounts, was experienced in being outdoors. So her family was very shocked by the thought that she just tripped and fell and drowned, which, could happen, but they were like, I don't know about that. 24 years later, investigators started looking into the details, and a little more information was realized. Now there was literally a different sheriff in town, and maybe that helped. The original story about an accidental drowning became very suspicious. The details that Danni had not met foul play was turned upside down when the current investigators discovered that the original investigative records documented bruising and injuries to the back of Danni's neck, details that had never been shared with her family. Investigators concluded the injuries were consistent with someone forcibly holding Danni's face down in the shallow water until she drowned. So technically, she did drown, but the whole story about no injuries, bruising, scrapes, nothing, that was a big fat lie. But that wasn't all. There was also evidence of a sexual attack, with semen being found on her clothing and the presence of male hairs. At the time of her death in 1996, DNA was being used in legal cases, but it wasn't as common as it is currently. Also, the technology was basically in its infancy, having only been used for a few years. It definitely wasn't as sophisticated as it is now, especially with the advancements in genetic genealogy. The new sheriff brought in a retired police officer from LA who took on the challenge of solving this cold case. He started by having the semen retested, and they were able to get a partial DNA profile, but it didn't match anyone in the system. They kept testing, though, by using the male hairs that were found on her clothing. After several tries, they were able to get a full profile, but they still didn't have a match in the national database. As with several other cases we've covered in the past, they turned to genetic genealogy from self-administered genetic testing and genealogy websites, basically like 23andMe and those kind of things. Although I think there's lots of them out there now, but they were able to identify a family and then specific men in that family that could be suspects, and only one lived in Montana. After all the testing and searching for a few years after reopening the case, the investigators had identified their most likely suspect as 55-year-old Paul Hutchinson. Who was he, and how could he have come across Danni? Hutchinson would have been around 27 years old back in 1996. He was going to college at Montana State University in Bozeman, Montana, about 12 miles from Danni's hometown. He was studying fish and wildlife biology, and he had a work-study program that put him in and around the rivers and streams in the area. Hutchinson eventually graduated from the university and started a career with Montana Bureau of Land Management. In 2024, he'd been working for Montana BLM for 22 years and living in Dillon, Montana. He had no criminal record and was married with 2 adult children. He was well known in the fishing and hunting community, and colleagues thought he was a reliable and knowledgeable. Investigators set out to get his DNA and decided they also wanted to interview him. They went to his work and told him they were looking into deaths near rivers in Montana and asked for his professional help. During the interview, they showed him several pictures, including one of Danni. And they asked him if he had... Yeah. It's actually... So, like, the background details of the story are that the investigators, like, talked to him in the parking lot, and it was really hot that day. So he's like, hey, do you want to come inside? Let's go inside because it's cooler inside. And because they were just interviewing him, they didn't have to read him Miranda rights or anything. So he didn't know that they were looking at him specifically, and they were showing him pictures of other women who had died around rivers, not necessarily on Montana. But they also put Danni's picture in there too.
They need to make a TV show just so I can see that part.
It's so there's a, I believe out there's they had on body cams.
Oh, okay.
So there is footage of this interview of him and showing him the pictures, including the one of Danni. They asked him if he had ever been to the area where Danni died. He confirmed that he was familiar with the area, but said he didn't know Danni. Investigators noticed that Hutchinson was sweating profusely and acting nervously, but they never accused him of the murder. They didn't say, we know you did this or anything like that. They're just like, hey, do you know this person? He's like, no, don't know her. Okay. Thanks for your help, kind of thing. After the interview, Hutchinson left work and drove off very quickly. At around 4 a.m. the next day, Hutchinson had driven to a remote area, then called sheriff's dispatch and said that an officer needed assistance. When officers arrived on the scene, Hutchinson was deceased from a self-inflicted gunshot wound. They were able to get his DNA and match it to the sample from Danni. The case could finally be closed with certainty that the responsible person had been identified. Granted, that person would never see a trial, but then the family wouldn't also have to sit through a trial either. So, yeah. I mean, that's good. There's no indication that Hutchinson knew Danni, and investigators believe the two just randomly encountered each other at the Gallatin River when Danni was there alone on that fateful day.
Fuck.
And his wife and his family said there was zero indication that
he was a murderer.
Yeah. They had no
Jesus.
idea. She was shocked.
That's got to be awful too if you find out like, oh, your dad is actually a murderer.
Yeah, from 30 years ago.
Yeah.
Yeah. Scary.
Very scary.
Ooh. Do you have a chaser for us today?
My chaser is another watch recommendation for a YouTube channel called Killdozer_TV, which I think we talked about Marvin Heemeyer, but this is completely unrelated to the incident of the Killdozer. It's just a guy.
Okay.
But he does diet videos and not your typical keto or Atkins. He'll do like only eating from Marshall's for 7 days, and he goes to like Marshall's and buys the food that no one has ever bought before,
and you probably shouldn't.
Yeah. And or he'll do like blue diet and only eating things that are blue, or like he did a baby food only diet. That was pretty funny.
Wow.
Most of his stuff is just diet related, and it's not the kind that makes you feel bad. It's like, oh wow,
yeah,
he's only eating from 7-Eleven for a week.
I would eat from 7-Eleven over the dollar store or Marshall's or TJ Maxx or Ross.
He's done everything you mentioned. He's done Dollar Tree, he's done Ross, TJ Maxx, fucking Marshall's.
So a little PSA for everyone out there. The food, I know for sure, the food and products at the dollar store might be the same brand as what you would find at another store, but they are not the same product. And I know this because I once bought a tube of Crest toothpaste at the dollar store. I thought, hey, when I buy this toothpaste at my regular store, it's $5, $3 to $5. And the very first time I used that dollar store toothpaste that said Crest on it, I had a horrible reaction. My lips swelled up so bad it looked like somebody had punched me in the face.
Jesus.
I had to go to the dentist, and he was like, oh, so what happened? And I told him. He's like, oh, yeah, you might want to not use that anymore. And then I looked it up, and yes, it said, oh, yeah, the stuff that you buy, the food products or the other products that you buy at the dollar store,
they're meant for other markets that
yes, they're not held to the same standards. So who knows what you're getting? But after that, I will never again. I don't know if Marshall's does that or Ross or TJ Maxx. I don't want to disparage them, but I would assume so.
Who the fuck? Like so I think it was the Marshall's episode. He got like, I think it was called salmon spread and lobster spread.
Ooh.
And they were canned, and he opened them up and they looked exactly like canned cat food.
Oh,
like,
yeah.
Where it like sucks away from the sides of the can, and then there's like the jelly. In there. Yeah. It was disgusting.
It probably was cat food. It was fancy.
It's so funny because no one wants to do that. Like, who in their right mind would go to Marshall's and say, I'm going to eat here for a week straight?
No. Wow.
Yeah. It's very funny, though.
I'll have to check it out. I'd be curious for the humor factor.
Yeah.
My chaser is another watch recommendation as well. It's the show Apples Never Fall. I believe it's on Peacock, but I was watching it on Prime because we have Peacock on Prime. And it's about this family in Florida, and the mother goes missing and is presumed dead. and the family is just unraveling, trying to figure out if she's really dead, is she just missing, what happened to her. So it's kind of a murder mystery, psychological family, and you get to see the family just coming at each other. And yeah, it's a good show. It's a limited, it's not one of those like you have to watch it and then hope that it ends. It does have a firm end.
Oh, okay. Didn't
And
get canceled. It's just a one
exactly.
season deal. Okay.
Right. It's just a one season limited series. I actually looked it up to make sure that it didn't end on a cliffhanger, because I've had that happen to me so many times that now I start looking up. If I see a show that's one season, I'm like, all right. But no, it has a good firm ending, and it's a good show. Yeah.
Sweet. I'll have to check it out.
Yeah. I think that wraps us up for today.
Oh, yeah. Thanks for listening, everybody. Thanks for joining us once again for another great episode. No technical difficulties today.
Yay!
All right. Love you, Mom.
Love you too, bud.
Bye.
Bye. Oh, yeah. I have to hit stop.
Hey, friends. Thank you for supporting our podcast. Please share our show with your brutal and bizarre friends. Give us a boozy follow on your favorite podcast platform. If you're feeling extra generous, we'd appreciate a 5-star rating or review as well. But maybe do that sober so all the letters are in the right place.
You can find all our contact information in the show notes. We love hearing from you, and if you're interested in helping us stock the bar for our future boozy episodes, you can find our Patreon link in the show notes as well.